In the highest enrichment rates ever recorded, Iran is enriching uranium at 84%, which is just 6% away from nuclear capabilities. Israel vowed that if the world does nothing about this, then they will. In protest of the judicial reforms being passed in the Knesset, the Yesh Atid and Labor parties are threatening to actually resign from the Knesset, and the home of the terrorist who carried out the deadly bombings in Jerusalem in November is said to be destroyed. All this and more on today's show. I'm Justin, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, welcome back to the show. I'm glad to be back with you here on the show. I'm Justin Hilton, coming to you from the Mount of Blessing. I'm so happy to be back with you today. You guys know the drill. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any of the episodes. We're coming to you 5 times a week with the true and authentic stories of Israel. So you're going to want to make sure and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that content. Also, please make sure to like our videos and share our content so we can reach as many people as possible. You know, we're fighting against the YouTube algorithms. We're even last week we had a video that was age restricted to 18 and over only. So I think YouTube is definitely censoring us. So guys, we need your help to push back against these algorithms and these big tech platforms. So if you would do your part and subscribe and share our content, that would be amazing. All right, we're going to jump into what is going on in the world stage right now. So according to official reports from the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran is now enriching uranium at 84%. Now this is scary if you ask me. You know, you guys might be thinking, okay, people have been talking about this for 20 years. Iran's super close to a nuclear bomb. You know, it's getting dangerous. We need to do something about this. But I believe that right now, this is a really, really important. I don't know if you understand, but 84% is just 6% away from the uranium they need to create a nuclear bomb. So this is the highest levels that have ever been recorded in Iran. That's what the International Atomic Energy Agency is saying, that this is the highest levels they've ever been. So it's really dangerous for the West and for Israel, for the whole world. You guys know Iran, they're actively against Israel, not only Israel, and they're against the U.S. They call the U.S. the big Satan and Israel the little Satan. They're actively fighting against, they're shouting death to America, death to Israel. There's footage all over the place of this. So this is very dangerous that Iran is getting close to a nuclear bomb here. Iran, they did say they're not interested in enriching at 90%, but I highly doubt that. You know, since when have we believed anything that Iran has said? They've lied before. So there was a national security conference that was held in Tel Aviv on Tuesday evening, last night. Mike Pompeo, David Friedman, they were both there. And at this conference, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he was interviewed by several journalists and professors. During this interview, he was asked the question, what would the policy be on Iran on the assumption that the U.S. administration claims that the 2015 nuclear agreement is completely finished, and in light of reports that Iran has enriched its uranium to 84%, just below nuclear level?
The administration were to say, okay, the JCPOA is completely dead, there's no going back to it in the foreseeable future, they need to have an Iran policy. And what would that Iran policy be?
You have to, okay. What would that Iran policy be? Well, okay, ask a question. How do you stop a rogue nation from acquiring nuclear weapons? The only thing that has credibly stopped rogue nations from developing nuclear weapons is a credible military threat or a credible military action. You can couple that with crippling economic sanctions, but that's not a sufficient condition. A necessary condition, and often a sufficient condition, is credible military action. The longer you wait, the harder that becomes. We've waited very long. In any case, I can tell you that I will do everything in my power to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. That is not merely an Israeli interest, it's an American interest, it's in the interest of the entire world.
What Netanyahu is saying here is 100% true. The U.S. has tried to appease Iran. They've tried to do things with their 2015 nuclear deal, which was absolutely a disaster. But what Netanyahu is saying here is deals those are not going to work with Iran. You have to take military action here. And he was calling on America to do that. But sadly, America probably won't do anything about this. You know, they might try to do another deal or something. So apparently there have been a lot of meetings in Israel. There's very much of a concern about this issue with Iran, but there have been a lot of meetings happening recently, according to a report by Channel 12 News. Israel's top defense officials participated in the discussions, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, IDF Chief of Staff Herzl Halevi, the head of the Mossad, the head of the National Security Council, the head of the Military Intelligence Directorate, the head of the Operations Directorate, as well as the operational ranks of the relevant units in the IDF. Basically, the summary of these meetings is that if the world won't act, if they won't do anything, then Israel will. Israel will take things into their own hands and strike Iran. There was an event in Jerusalem. It was hosted by the Conference of Presidents of Major Jewish Organizations. At this event, Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen called on the U.S. to use force against Iran. He said this. He said, quote, "If the United States does not establish a credible military threat immediately, either Israel will attack or Iran will have a nuclear weapon, which we will not allow under any circumstance. The Iranian nuclear threat is a very time-sensitive issue. Iran is close to 90% enrichment of uranium, therefore steps must be taken immediately." U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Thomas Nides, he said at the conference, he said, quote, "Israel can and should do whatever they need to deal with Iran. As President Joe Biden has said, we will not stand by and watch Iran get a nuclear weapon. Let's hope not." He's saying they won't, but we'll see if they actually do, if they actually carry out any strikes on Iran or not. Also, Nides in his remarks, he said that while the Iranians are providing drones to Russia, there's no chance of us going back to the negotiating table, which that's a good statement. They're finally learning that the mess from the 2015 nuclear deal was an absolute mess, that it's not working and they can't go back to the negotiating table with Iran. They're going to have to use force against them. Eli Cohen, the foreign minister, he further said at this conference, he said that Iran's new close ties with Russia have impeded Israel's ability to effectively check the Islamic Republic's aggression. He said, quote, "Israel has been forced to face the partnership between Iran and Russia, which brings a lot of concern from our point of view." He said also that Moscow is a big player in our neighborhood and that this really restricts Israel's ability to adequately check the growing Russo-Iranian axis. Cohen also went on to say, "If Iran will have nuclear weapons, it's not just a threat to Israel. It's a threat to the entire world." Guys, let's hope that the world takes this seriously, that they follow Israel's example and they realize that Iran is a growing threat and that they need to take military action, that going to the negotiating table with Iran, that trying to form deals with them will not work. They have to realize that the Middle Eastern culture, they respect strength and power. You know, sometimes deals or peace treaties that they try to form, sometimes those are seen as weaknesses. So you have to act how they know their culture to be. Iran is not the only enemy that is coming against Israel. There's a movement called BDS, which stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, that is fighting against Israel's right to live in their heartland. What can you do to fight this? Join the Heartland Challenge. Pick one item that you use on a regular basis and commit to only purchasing that item from Judea and Samaria. If you're wondering how in the world you can purchase products from Judea and Samaria, our friends at Blessed by Israel make it super easy for you. They source incredible boutique products from small businesses located in Judea and Samaria and ship those products straight to your doorstep. We've partnered with Blessed by Israel to promote the Heartland Challenge, encouraging supporters of Israel all around the world to commit to using certain products only from Judea and Samaria. So whether it's olive oil, tea, soap, ceramics, or something else, Blessed by Israel is encouraging everyone to buy what you believe in and then share the message with your community and friends. It's time to build and invest in the heartland of Israel. Join the Heartland Challenge and start making a difference today. To find out more, go to blessedbyisrael.com. Again, that is blessedbyisrael.com to find out more. Use the code INVEST at checkout for $5 off your first order. Link is in the description below. In protest of the judicial reforms being passed in the Knesset right now, as you guys know, Luke talked about it yesterday on the show, but now, okay, everyone's really mad about it. The leftists are. The Yesh Atid and Labor parties are actually threatening to resign from the Knesset. They're hoping that if they resign, I guess they will somehow disrupt the completion of the legislative process for these judicial reforms. Not sure exactly how this would work if they actually went through with resigning. So MK, rumors about this, they first started circulating on Monday evening after the Knesset vote that backed the two measures of the first measures were passed on the judicial reform plan. But then after that, MK Elazar Stern from the Yesh Atid party, he confirmed that the party is indeed weighing such an option. He said this on a radio interview with Galei Tzahal on Tuesday morning. Also, MK Efrat Reitan from the Labor Party later confirmed that her party is also looking into the possibility of withdrawing from the Knesset. She said, quote, "We in the Labor Party are familiar with the idea and no option is being ruled out." So basically, how Israel's basic law says that Knesset vacancies are supposed to be filled by having the next candidate on the party's list enter the Knesset. But this is a whole different story because it would be whole parties resigning. So there's not even really laws set up for this. So they're not sure how this would work. Dr. Shuki Segev, he's a senior lecturer at the Netanya Academic College's law school. He said the mass resignation of the entire opposition could create a constitutional crisis for the Knesset. But he did say it would not topple the government, thankfully. He said, quote, "It isn't clear that what would happen if all the candidates on a party's list resigned." He went on to say it would lead to a constitutional crisis for the state of Israel, but would not in any event lead to the collapse of the government. So we'll see if they go through with these threats. I kind of doubt it, but it is interesting to note nonetheless. Moving on, the home of the terrorist who was responsible for the double deadly bombings attacks back in November in Jerusalem. You guys remember the horrible bombing attack that happened. The home of this terrorist is set to be destroyed. According to a statement from the IDF spokesperson's unit, which was published on Monday morning, an announcement was made on Sunday about the IDF's intention to demolish the home where this terrorist lived. Not going to say his name. You guys know at the Israel Guys, we don't say the names of terrorists. They don't deserve that much recognition. So they marked his house and they're getting ready to destroy his house, which is in the city of Ramallah. You guys remember this was a horrible, horrible attack. 2 Israelis were murdered. Aryeh Shupak, he was a 15-year-old yeshiva student, and Tadessa Teshuma, who suffered critical injuries in the attack and then later succumbed to his injuries. Absolutely horrible attack. So it's good Israel's responding. They're getting ready to destroy this house. Moving on, the Jenin Battalion of the Islamic Jihad terrorist organization, on Tuesday, they published a video of them shooting towards the Jewish town of Shaked. Watch this. Wow, that is a lot of bullets. Sounds like a war going on. Thankfully, no one was injured. It's like a miracle that no one was hit in these houses here. Guys, in recent months, a number of similar shooting attacks have been happening throughout Judea and Samaria, as well as in Shaked, at houses there, even houses in the communities close by where we live. Thankfully, no one has been injured in these attacks. All right, guys, I want to talk about the horrible apartheid for just a second that is going on in Israel. That's what you think, right? Okay. As you know, Arabs, they're very much degraded here in Israel. They're unable to work high-paying jobs, right? That's what the media is telling you. Okay. Well, I want you to meet the youngest Israeli physician to receive a full professorship in the Tel Aviv University Faculty of Medicine. This is 35-year-old Arab Israeli Dr. Abdullah Watad. Yes, I said Arab. This Watad is a senior rheumatologist and deputy director of the internal medicine B ward at Sheva Medical Center in Ramat Gan. He has co-authored over about 200 scientific publications, and now he's the youngest Israeli physician to receive a full professorship. Does that sound like apartheid to you? Watch this short video where he explains how he earned this title.
Being an Arab is always something really interesting in Israel, because we would like to be involved in the daily work and research and also treating patients. And to be fair, in Sheba, I never felt that there's a discrimination between Arab or non-Arab. And this is thanks to the manager and the head of this hospital, that they can really give all the support regardless your background. So I'm really thankful for Sheba.
Did you hear what he said? He said, being an Arab is always something really interesting in Israel, because we would like to be involved in the daily work and research and also treating patients. And then he said something super, super interesting. He said, and to be fair, at Sheva, I never felt there is discrimination between Arab or non-Arab. There you heard it, guys. There's no further need for discussion. That completely proves the point. There's not apartheid happening in Israel. There's no room to use that word here in Israel. Out of the Arab said it himself. There's not apartheid happening, and now he's the youngest Israeli physician to receive this professorship. Guys, in conclusion, Iran is closer than they have ever been to a nuclear bomb, and the world cannot stay silent. They need to follow the example of Israel and take this threat seriously, and maybe even use military force to strike Iran. Also, apartheid is not a word that should ever be used in Israel. Guys, don't forget to join the Heartland Challenge. Go to blessedbyisrael.com or click the link in the description below. Make sure to subscribe. Also, get the conversation going down in the comments below. We love to hear from you, to respond to your questions. Let us know what you think about the things we're talking about, or if you have any questions about different things that are going on in Israel. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening in the land of Israel. We'll be back every Monday through Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.